I have never experienced racism in Australia. 3, 2, 1.
I disagree, because I have. In primary school, this kid used to call me Blackie, so that's my first time I experienced it. It just made me feel bad, you know. That's not my name.
I definitely disagree. I feel like ever since I was like 11, 12 years old, I've been experiencing racism, especially by the police. You know, I remember I got searched at 12 years old because I didn't pay for my train ticket. And I was with a couple of my homeboys. We therefore had police coming at us, guard dogs, all that stuff trying to search us for drugs when we're just a couple of teenagers, not even teenagers. And I don't think it's right for us to experience that stuff at such a young age.
I do disagree because I've experienced racism here in Australia. It is very prevalent here. There's so many times I can count that I've experienced it even in the workplaces too, even in the middle of the street, just by random people. I've even been hurled at. I remember one time, I think when I was 17, walking in the streets of Bankstown, just having some random people drive by, yelling out the car window, like, you know, you blackie, this and that, as they're speeding off. So yeah, it's very prevalent here.
So I have experienced racism in Australia. I've had people try to touch my hair in like school. I've had people call me names when I get on the bus. I live in a very predominantly white area, so a lot of people are very like shocked when they see me as like the only coloured person in a white school.
I do disagree. Growing up, I definitely did experience a lot of racism. I think it's not as bad now, but definitely, you know, you get called names, people make fun of your lips, you know, your hair, you know, different things. But like I said, it's not as bad now, and, you know, people saying the N-word too. But yeah, I have definitely experienced racism in Australia.
I've definitely experienced racism, maybe not to that extent, but working in retail and having the accent that I have, and someone white, me serving them and them being absolutely shocked that I don't sound African. But yeah, that's definitely the racism that I've experienced.
There are issues within certain African communities in Australia. 3, 2, 1.
I would say I slightly agree. In terms of the way that we were brought up, especially coming from immigrant countries and seeing what we went through, our families went through in the past, and just getting to Australia. And that really affects the way that we operate as Africans in Australia. You know, just by the way we're treated and the way we're brought up. And sometimes it's less fortunate than other people, which does create issues within the household, within families, and within the community as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with him. You know, just, you know, picture having to leave a war-torn country. Your parents are usually traumatized because of the war, seeing people die. So some of the fathers that die, these kids grow up with no fathers. Sometimes they get into, you know, trouble. Sometimes they get into, you know, gang-related activities. And you can't really, I don't know, I feel like every immigrant is kind of the same. You know, the first couple generations dip in and out of crime because there's no, you know, foundation there in that country.
I was going to agree, but I'm kind of like thinking to disagree. I do think that, do I move? Yeah. Yeah, I was going to agree, but now I think I'm going to disagree because I do think, obviously, our culture do have some issues, but I think every culture does. I don't think it's as bad as it would be in America, obviously. But I actually think the black culture in Australia is a lot better than it would be in other countries, so I can't really agree with that too much.
I feel like initially I stood here because I didn't understand the question completely, but like hearing everyone's answers, yeah, I feel like there maybe is, but at the end of the day, we're all one. And I don't think that there should be an issue, so maybe I'm going to step on this side because I feel like we have evolved a lot over time.
There is nothing wrong with white people wearing dreads. 3, 2, 1.
So with white people wearing dreads, I don't really see what is the outrage for them wearing dreads. I feel like it's just really popularized by the Black Americans who got it, trending, just out of, outrage and for rightful reasons too. But ultimately, like, being human and being on this planet in general, we're all somewhat borrowing each other's cultures to some degree and experiencing each other's cultures. So I don't see the issue with the white person, wearing dreads around, Doesn't really seem to be much of a big deal, I reckon.
So I'm standing in the middle because I feel like, yeah, you can do whatever you want, wear those dreads if you're white, but I also disagree in the sense that if you're going to change the way that you act and you're going to pick up the rest of our culture, then sit down, really. Like, I hate to be rude, but you're here, do whatever you want, but just don't think that because you've got that, you're one of us.
So I'm South African, and in South Africa it's very multicultural, and I think also growing up here too, you grow up, you see a lot of, when you go to the hair shop, there's a lot of Caucasian people that come in and get their hair done. Me personally, I don't see the problem with people trying out our hair. I think it's kind of admirable because it's like, okay, yeah, you see our hair, you like it, cool. My only problem is when you guys start to change the names of the hairstyles and kind of, make it your own little thing. I don't see a problem with you, taking from our culture, but don't take from our culture, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I actually agree with her. I just don't like when people try to like rebrand the hairstyles or whatever they take. But in terms of like braids, I think they should, because I got a lot of things I like from other cultures that I embrace. It's beautiful when you see it, honestly.
Although some people would say it's cultural appropriation, I would say I slightly agree that they can wear dreads because it's in a sense like what Chang said. I'd like to see other people take it from our culture, mixing that part of not their own, but like they're embracing our culture. And I see that as a way that they're respecting us instead of like disrespecting us, because they like who wouldn't want to have dreads? Like, come on, that's so cool. You feel me? Like, having dreads is like it's a great thing that you can, a hairstyle that you have, and seeing other people that want to do it as well. That's cool with me. But as long as they ain't, as long as they ain't taking like other parts of our culture with it, trying to act like they are black, then yeah, it's cool, man. Wear it how you want it.
I think that there's a difference between appreciating and appropriating culture. And I think if you're appreciating it, that's okay. But I don't like when people choose to wear that hairstyle and then say, oh, it's just hair, and just be like, oh, it's nothing. I think you can wear that hairstyle, but if you're going to wear it, understand that there's a lot of history and it's not just a hairstyle.
I change my voice around non-black people at work. 3, 2, 1.
I do not change my voice at work around non-black people. Screw that, to be honest with you. I have to be authentic and myself. I don't really care who I'm around or where I'm around. I know that I just have to be myself regardless, and I can still be myself and act in a professional manner.
Yeah, one thing I'm pretty big on is being authentic and being myself at all times. So changing who I am to be around like certain people, or even if they have a higher position than me or anything like that, I wouldn't necessarily change how I act. I'll still stay the same. I'll still speak how I speak. The only thing is, like, I work in retail, so if I'm speaking to a customer, I'm not gonna speak a white way or something like that, but I'm gonna speak in a way that's proper. And I can still speak proper while being myself and while being me.
I definitely agree with the boys, but sometimes you gotta get that bag, To get that bag, you gotta be someone else for a couple hours, I feel like the good thing about it is I change when I'm around anyone that's not black, I feel like it just say, I think you pick up when you go to all white school or all white, whatever. You gotta kind of like fit in.
So I'm going to have to disagree. I feel like if I have to change myself to fit in or to get money, I shouldn't be working for you or working there point blank period. I feel like there's millions of places, to get money. So me personally, I just can't change myself for money. Like I just can't do that.
I feel like with work, obviously we all have a customer service voice. So I do change the way that I speak. That doesn't mean that I change who I am when I'm working. And the way that I speak to my family is totally different to random people that I meet, if that makes sense.
I think that I do change how I speak to be taken more seriously, like the tone of what I say and how I say it. I notice that when I speak in a different way, I'm taken more seriously. I do agree with you should always be yourself, but I do tend to change how I speak just because I feel like people might understand me better, and I do find myself changing.
I prefer to date within my own race. 3, 2, 1.
Short and simple, I'm an explorer. So I don't really like to stay down in one place like that because there's so many different cultures and whatnot to experience with different people. So why just, limit yourself?
Me personally, I feel like it's not just about culture, it's more about the person that they are. And if I can vibe with you as a person, then it's different. But I also do feel like sometimes it can feel like family. And I feel like that kind of turns me off a bit. Like if you feel like my family, I don't want to talk to you in that way.
So I feel like I don't have one particular race I'll stick to if I'm dating. But I would say, I'm going to be honest, I'm only attracted to black women and Asian women. Everything else is like that's like 1 and 2, and then everything else can come after that. But I'm still date them, but like I can still date them, but just those two at the top, Everything else can come after that. Yeah.
So I'm in the middle because I've seen both sides, you know what I mean? Like dating a black girl it's like a dream, So easy to understand each other. It's great to have that, connection. But at the same time, I would never cut someone out just because of their race. They could be the one and they're, Mexican or something. I don't know, anything. So that's why I'm in the middle.
I prefer a light-skinned partner to a dark skin. 3, 2, 1.
I mean, I feel like we can all agree chocolate's chocolate. It doesn't really matter. It tastes a little bit different, but it's okay. So, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I think this whole light skin and dark skin thing is the most stupid thing I've ever heard. Like, I just love what I love, and I think like it doesn't matter whether you're light skin or dark skin.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what she said. I think you shouldn't say, oh, light skin or dark skin. It's more about who you are as a person and not how you look like.
Yeah, this is completely ridiculous. It's just more colorism and division within the community and shit, it shouldn't even be a topic of conversation,
I'm not going to lie. I have bad history with light skins, so that's why I'm here. I'm trying to try the other side for now, you know what I mean?
I completely disagree. It's all about the person, She could be really cool, no matter what color she is. I still fuck with her,
I am proud to be black and Australian. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I am proud to be black and Australian, but because I was raised in New Zealand, I don't really classify myself as Australian yet. So, yeah, we're working on that.
Yeah, I'm proud to be black, but the Australian part, I don't really know about that because I'm not Australian. I'm from New Zealand, so yeah, can't really apply to me that much.
Yeah, I'm definitely proud to be black and definitely proud to be Australian. Australia is just such a funny place. I love it.
And that's it. Thank you so much for coming. We love your opinions. Let's hug it out.